There is obviously quite a lot to explore with quantum computing. Having given an overview of its applications and challenges, now let's link back to a more familiar development. Artificial intelligence is also a huge piece of tech that's already changing the way we work. Personal assistants like Siri and Alexa have been around for a while, but services like ChatGPT and DALL-E are pushing the boundaries further. As both AI and quantum computing grow, how might the two intertwine? Can they be combined for even greater power and potential?
So there are several ways in which this interaction can happen. So how can quantum computing aid AI? Is indeed because of the possibilities of computing with large amounts of data and the qubit being able to encode such a myriad amount of states and compute with them at the same time. So whereas a classical computer has to go through each state one at a time and compute the variables, optimize neural nets, adjust neural nets or whatever, the qubits or a quantum computer could be doing this possibility at the same time, several of them.
At the moment, I guess, we're impressed with what we can see from ChatGPT and technologies that use AI like this. And I guess what you're sort of saying there is that if you combine quantum computing with AI technology, we could see something exponentially even more powerful than what we already are very impressed by.
Yeah, impressible. Yes. Take ChatGPT, for example. ChatGPT, and you've seen the results, it produces text that is very human-like. I mean, it's something like a human being could write. But at the very end, ChatGPT works on calculating probabilities based on a neural network that's been properly tuned with a lot of text and examples and human-generated content. And after being trained, this massive neural network, which is about 175 billion parameters, it produces what you can see. Take into account the amount of resources to make all this computation, to do the training data, the time it takes. If you can already see that combination with other technologies, it's just going to get more and more impressive. ChatGPT is just a neural network that's guessing the best next phrase or the best next word. Now, that brings a bit of a philosophical question, right? Because, okay, if that's the only thing that it's doing, but produces human-like text, is that really like the way the human brain actually works then? Do we actually work a bit that way, that we think about something and then try to guess what's the next likely follow-up to what we're saying? So it brings up all sorts of interesting questions beyond computer science.
Yeah, because it tells you, doesn't it, like, I'm just an AI, I don't have opinions, but these are kind of the facts, or this is what I can construe from the data, and then you just have to kind of run with it. And I suppose that's why that human layer of interpretation will always be there as that layer on top. I suppose with quantum computing coming into the conversation as well, I feel like it's quite hard to actually imagine what the uses will be and how we will be using these technologies in the future. 10, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have guessed, what's going on now.
Precisely.
It is great discussing the future of technology and how it will reshape the business world, but the question of ethics looms in the background like some shapeless shadow, because there are surely many benefits, but it's also easy to grow anxious about the inevitable drawbacks of rapidly implementing this kind of tech. So, will humanity adapt in time, or will we get left behind?
I think that human beings will adapt. AI can be a very powerful tool that could make our work more efficient if we learn how to use it properly. It can automate a lot of things to give us more time to actually do the creative stuff. Could substitute, I guess, some jobs. Others, it will make it more efficient. And humans will have to adapt to that. You don't see people working in telegraphs or in switchboards. New generations have to adapt. There are new jobs where technology helps you become more productive. You saw this letter put out by several companies or CEOs and scientists on having a moratorium on AI because now with ChatGPT, people are starting to get scared, could be damaging for humanity, but it's not realistic. Someone, somewhere, will continue to develop AI. A government, an organization, a single individual in a research institute. If you make a moratorium on AI, what you're basically saying is, okay, we'll pause so that you can get an advantage, right?
What do you feel about artificial intelligence making decisions in more critical situations, like in healthcare, for example?
There's a lot of research on AI that interprets X-ray, and actually, in some cases, it comes to make a better diagnosis than actual specialists. But it also does make mistakes. And the problem is, can you hold a machine responsible for the life of a human being? Can you? Can you take it to court? Where is the liability? So AI is a tool to help us become better. And in this particular case, like healthcare, it should always be vetted by a human, a specialist, a doctor, or a counsel with the AI as an input, but not as the final decision maker.
Yeah, probably is the morally best place for it to stay for now.
Right, indeed. But take, for example, cases where there's no chance to do a review. Automatic driving, for example, in a car. Yeah. Whether you're in a situation where the car has to go somewhere and there's a person in front, but if you move it somewhere else, there's two persons on the other side. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's that moral,
what should you choose, right?
Stop the car, I suppose.
Yeah, if that's at all possible, or in the highway or so forth. But even in the normal situation, if for some reason there's a mistake, there's a flop in the computer or whatever, and you run over someone, can you hold the machine responsible? Who's the responsible party there? Is it the maker of the car? Is it the software developer of the AI? Who is...
Or is it the driver?
Or is it the driver? So this is a bit more tricky.
Yeah.
If there's a driver. But if the car is fully autonomous, it's even more difficult.
A question I'm always asking myself, which is, why don't we have technology where you can speak to me in Spanish and I can hear it in English, and I can speak to you in English and you hear it in Spanish in real time? How far are we away from that technology?
Actually, that's not far away. I've seen some prototypes of that. YouTube has automatic translation, and there's already software that can synthesize voices out of text. Putting all those parts together, there are prototypes.
Okay.
I don't know of any commercial company that's, maybe there is, I just haven't noticed, but I know there are prototypes of that. We're so used to it.
Yeah.
We don't see a miracle in it anymore. It's an everyday thing. But it actually took a lot of effort and a lot of research to get this translation software to get working. And I'm sure the same thing will happen to this voice synthesizers plus translation on real time and so on.
In a way, do you think that's maybe like encouraging or letting people learn languages less? Like, you know, because if you're trying to speak to someone, you have that technology that can just give you that instant access to that information. Do you think that takes away like the whole education and learning aspect of learning a whole language? Because obviously learning a language and things like that are so beneficial to the brain, right? From like a wider AI perspective as well. Do you think like integrating all these automated technologies into society will have negative impacts?
There are studies being done that says that the human brain, the size of the human brain, has actually shrunk. Human beings from 10,000, 20,000 years ago who had to memorize where was the tree for apples, where was the way to hunt. They knew their environment very well. All of these sorts of skills that they had to learn and be quick about them, which we don't need anymore.
Yeah.
We don't need anymore. So when you say about languages, indeed, I do think that because a lot of people learn languages out of necessity, they actually needed to speak another language. These technologies will take out that need out of the equation. So there's no real push or need to learn it. It's only if you want it, but not really because you need it. And the same happens with other technologies. Take maps, for example. Before Google Maps, to take the paper and actually know how to read it, right? And look for the actual street and even orient it the right way to find your way around. Cooking, starting a fire, whatever. It all required skills and brain power. And that's why when you say, is it having an impact on the brain? Some studies says that yes, the human brain is actually shrinking.
Wow. It's a bombshell to drop.
Yeah.
I have a question about the study on human brain shrinking. In what time frame was it done?
It's tens of thousands of years. No, it's not hundreds of years. No. It's tens of thousands of years, indeed.
I think it shrunk over here more than anywhere else.
Yeah. I'm adding to the study, definitely backing up the theory.
I think there is that danger though, isn't there? Like if we don't use our brains because everything is done for us, then what's going to happen?
Precisely, indeed. And I think that that's one of the drivers of this phenomenon, that we don't need to use all the skills that previous humans had to use.
So all the sci-fi films are wrong. These aliens don't have massive heads; they have tiny.
Maybe.
Are we going to walk around the future with these tiny?
Indeed. No, that's right. That's right.
That's funny.